Today we need to get into RM believed to be in trouble after what people are saying online. We need to talk about RM's team dating and believed to be dating a woman on Instagram. And then we have RM talking about a romance in a new clip. So dumplings, is did decide hit or not, make sure you're subscribed with the notification bell on. Grab your dumpling, taste big mug merch, and let's go. A video posted recently of HYBE and RM has gotten a lot of people's attention, and people have a lot to say about this. HYBE decided to release a video giving people a sneak peek behind the scenes on what goes on within their company. A lot of things happen behind the scenes that impact an artist and impact the final product that we see. So it's always a treat to see the people behind that, and also be able to visually in our heads see the faces behind the genius. HYBE decided to highlight their T&D team, which stands for Talent and Development. This is the team that BTS members have credited to help them get to where they are. They are in charge of taking a trainee when the trainee is first signed on and developing them until they reach the point where they can debut. This includes things like media training, dancing, being on camera, and everything. HYBE decided to specifically highlight RM. Of course, with him being the leader of BTS, it makes total sense for him to speak on BTS's behalf and also speak on BTS's journey. The head of T&D sat down and talked with RM about the love of music and having passion for it, and how important it is to love what you do. This is very important, well beyond what they're even portraying for this little video, because the amount of stuff and hurdles that you have to go through in order to just make music is so big and so much that if you don't have the passion, it would be a nightmare for you to keep going. Because if you're doing it for external validation, sooner and later the public will go against you. Happens in every cycle of any creative person. And so if your passion was to get people to like you, money, whatever it is, starts to go away, your ability to make music or be creative will go too, because even money will go up and down. Fortunately for BTS, and even why they're all still going to remain creative, is that they found that passion within each other and also themselves. We can see this example even in Jungkook right before he started the process of even recording Golden, that he wasn't going to make any music unless he was passionate about the music. But I love how everything turned out, and RM also expressed that BTS members are all forever indebted to the T&D team at HYBE. This is probably also a bit of an ad to get artists to join HYBE. RM also talked about his passion for music and where that came from. He talked about when he was younger, he used to put music on CDs to give to his friends, saying that most people didn't have a wide variety of tastes and everyone just listened to the same thing. This was of course before streaming, before people could even find their own taste, and he talked about how there was romance in what he did. There were a few people who had some opinions on what this meant, if this meant that HYBE was trying to hide the fact that when RM said friends, he really meant girlfriends, or was the word romance meaning more like romanticization of friends and the music. I tend to lean on probably the second one. Of course, this video of RM talking about romance trended and people had their theories on whatever is going on. But I think this is so funny. RM recently has been getting some hate because people are mad at how RM is being portrayed in the fandom. This is something that he definitely has no power over and can't control, so I don't know what he could even do about it. But basically, people were upset that RM often gets praised for being the backbone of the group and all the wonderful things, and when you look at the comments, most people agree and say great things. However, when people praise Jungkook for being the backbone, people get upset and say that Jungkook is not, or call him names, and then others say that armies need to be OT7 and not solo stan, but apparently those comments don't exist with RM. Now, I'm not trying to discount what people are seeing or saying, but I personally have not seen anyone say that about Jungkook. Most people usually agree that Jungkook or RM is great and then just move on. I find it difficult to find comments when you're showing support to Jungkook to say you need to support other members too. But a reason that could exist is because we are seeing the very large support that Jungkook received for his album Golden, and this could possibly make people feel like Jungkook gets more support. To say that, I will say I don't think Jungkook is getting more support necessarily. I think Jungkook is getting the same amount of support as the others, but he has just made more American mainstream music, so is then also getting new supporters outside of K-pop. And once you hit that sort of mainstream thing, new and completely different opportunities open up. Opportunities like TV and radio opportunities, and so it always appears like the artist is getting more support, but this isn't the reality. Also, when an artist reaches that level and is starting to achieve a new set of exposure, it's very natural for the company to put money and put more resources behind that artist to push them further. That's just how it works. And an example I can give is that a lot lot of artists and even actors talk about how they don't receive any support from their agency or entertainment companies until they blow up. And then suddenly their inbox is filled with all those people that once said that they will help you, but then completely forgot about you. And this is not to say the other BTS members aren't successful. It's to say naturally the music that Jungkook was making for Golden was naturally just going to appear to a much wider audience outside of K-pop. I know a bunch of people who weren't even aware that 7 and 3D were from a K-pop star. None of the members should be getting hate, and I hate that people are now targeting RM because certain fans decide to come for Jungkook, and then people think it's a good idea to attack RM as payback. But I think we are literally comparing apples to oranges here, and in both cases we should be supporting their individual projects as well as their endeavors as solo artists. There's also a lot of people who are praying and requesting that Jungkook go solo and leave the members. So if you are seeing more of those comments would have come after the fact that there's a lot of people asking Jungkook to go solo. However, we must also say that RM also gets a lot of hate, and I don't think any of it actually makes any sense. RM is very open about his life, almost to a fault. It is not or ever a bad thing to be open about your life and to talk about yourself. While it's scary because people can hate you, it can also cause people to hate you less. They see you as a human being instead of this person they might see as a character that is on screen. However, it opens the door of ridicule and a chance for the ridicule to hurt more. Recently, there's been rumors after RM enlisted that he is dating someone. Pictures came out where he is with a specific girl, and people were saying that she was his girlfriend. Given that he has talked about wanting a girlfriend, people think that this is likely. Now, this girl, I'm not going to share any specific details. Is it hard to find her? Not really, because she has posts of RM on her feed that have like tens of thousands of likes. However, I don't think her profession is making music or anything like that. You can also see on her feed she is also a lover of art and going to museums, which can make us assume that RM probably goes with her to the museums. And also another reason why people think they're dating. RM and her have a group photo right before the military where they hung out and say goodbye to each other. She also has another photo of her just in her underwear, which I don't want to post here, that got people to think how raunchy it is and that she must be dating RM. Because not only is she a woman next to RM, which is the only prerequisite to date someone, is to be the opposite gender and next to them, but apparently she was also somewhat nude, so sex. However, these are just photos she posted, and she's allowed to post whatever photos she wants of herself. RM can also have just friends that he interacts with. RM is allowed to have a life outside of BTS and music, and probably a life that most people wouldn't even imagine for RM. It's not to say he is being fake during interviews or when he is with BTS, but he probably isn't able to show his full self when he is on TV or whatever. There's a side to every person that only a select few people get to see. You might think you know someone very well, but it is literally impossible to see all their sides. For example, as a friend of someone, you probably would never see their sexual side, because why would that side ever exist to you? Obviously, you wouldn't see their romantic side, and if you're dating that person, then yes, you would see those sides, but you wouldn't see the side that they show just around their friends. And this is very normal. I feel like not just in K-pop, but in reality in general, we romanticize this idea that all of our friends know everything about us. We see it in movies, we see it on TV, but it's just not the reality. So even if we were able to consider RM and BTS members our friends, we still have no idea how they are behind the scenes and what type of person they may be. They may be a bad boy and have female friends. It's very edgy of RM, I know, but that's the type of person he could be. And we never get to know because we will never see all of his sides. We actually only see one side of him, which is the side he shows in the media. Let me know what you think. Make sure you check on Patreon for more videos. Link down below. Thanks to this lovely comment right here. Love you, bye.